Hi folks, this is Eric Lenderman. I'm back with Dr. Tom Meylan, former NASA scientist and PhD in astrophysics, today talking about his new book, Be the Boss by 12, Volume 0, Parents Prep, for parents learning how to prepare to raise a gifted and talented child. Today we're talking about Chapter 3, Family Habits. So, Tom, if you could tell us, what about family habits do parents need to know when they're preparing to raise a gifted and talented child?
Absolutely. There's a number of things about habits and instincts, and all of these things are intended to provide a quick, zero thinking response to life as it happens, right? So we all have instincts. If we trip, we try to catch ourselves. If we hear thunder, we jump out of our skin. So all of these those are the instinctive pieces. Now the fascinating thing about the human race is that there's this whole big set of unprogrammed behaviors. Right? So there's a whole bunch of things that haven't been pre-tuned like for most of the other animals. And that's ended up being the source of human adaptivity, because a family of Eskimos, when they have children, have to adapt to an icy environment. And, a tribe in the Amazon jungle has a totally different set of conditions, and so those children need to learn a totally different set of habits. And that's what the family does. The family puts the local instincts, so to speak, into their family rituals and their family habits, their family culture. And the kid's just born up and grows up and just watches these habits and, well, this is the way the universe works. And they're really deeply, deeply ingrained. Now, the funniest thing in my personal experience about this was when I left home to go to college. And there's bunch of us kids are just tossed together. And this was a pretty homogeneous little private school, right? So there weren't a lot of, everything was English. Everything was from the Great Lakes region. All right, and we all thought we were all just cut from the same cloth. Well, you start going to dinner with some of these kids, and their table manners are totally different than yours. And they look like, uncultured savages the way they eat. Now, they're just using forks and knives like everybody else, except it was just enough different from the way your family did things that I was like, man, what kind of people are these? So these family culture habits are really deep, and evaluation judgments just spring out of the mind when you encounter differences. So when we start looking at family habits, basically when it comes to the gifted and talented kid, they might buck the system, because they're looking at the world differently and they wonder why we as a family do this crazy thing. And if they start also exploring their gift, like in my case, I'm a science geek, right? It could be a music geek. It could be a sculptor geek. It could be, any of a number of things. But they're going to need some latitude to form habits that map to their gift or talent. And so if the family's not ready to make those shifts in these specific cases, there's going to be a lot of frictions that really don't need to be. The kid's not trying to be in your face about something he thinks is stupid. They're exploring their gift in the context that they understand the world, and the family habit's kind of just a barrier. Can you break those barriers down or adjust them appropriately? So this is the family habits issue when it comes to gifted and talented kids.
That's great. And I appreciate what you said there about how when you went to college and suddenly discovered that there was this diversity of different behaviors and familial patterns and cultures and ways of doing things, that a gifted and talented kid in many respects shows up to your family, for example, and has their own diverse skill set and brings to bear their own unique behaviors that match those skill sets. So if somebody's very cognitively inclined, they may question everything that the families do. And this is not to be adversarial. They simply are curious. And as you said in the previous chapter, are actually attempting to understand the culture around them, which is different.
It's fairly innocent as a rule.
Yes.
Once they figure some buttons to push, well, they might be button pushing. I ain't saying that doesn't happen. I'm just saying, as a rule, the questions are coming from a very honest place.
That's great. That's great. So, folks, if you want to learn more about how do you prepare to raise a gifted and talented child in your family and do so in a way that's smooth and cooperative for all members, click the link below and you'll see access to Tom's book, and get a copy while you can. And we're going to keep going through more of these chapters, so stick with us, and we're going to be back for more in just a moment.